the Chiefs pulled off a thrilling win against the Bengals in a game that came right down to the wire, just as we've come to expect from these two teams. While there were some big highlights, there are also some concerns that still need attention. One of the biggest issues is figuring out how to fill the gap left by a key player who's now out with an injury. But what if I told you that Kansas City might be bringing back a familiar face to help out while that player is on the injured reserve list? We'll dive into all that and more as we break down this wild Week 2 victory. This game was intense from start to finish. It had my heart racing. That's what happens when you've got a healthy Joe Burrow going up against the Kansas City Chiefs. Right from the first play, there was action. A fumble by Cincinnati went flying out of bounds. Nick Bolton made an incredible leaping play on 3rd and 4, but he knocked it down instead of catching it, missing out on a possible interception. The Bengals decided to go for it on 4th and 4, and their tight end just barely caught the ball as Chiefs' Kamari Connor swiped at it, while Justin Reed slipped and fell. This set up the Bengals for a huge gain, bringing them down to the 6-yard line. But the Chiefs' defense held strong, thanks to Trent McDuffie knocking away a Jamar Chase touchdown attempt and Carlos Dunlap almost sacking Burrow on 3rd down. Cincinnati had to settle for a field goal. From the start, it was clear the Bengals were aiming to exploit the Chiefs' defense by targeting their safeties and linebackers, especially with their tight ends. It's a tactic similar to what the Ravens did using Isaiah Likely, and it was pretty effective throughout the game. This is a big weakness for the Chiefs' defense, something we'll talk more about later. On the offensive side, the Chiefs wanted to establish their run game to take advantage of the Bengals' banged-up defensive line, particularly on the interior. This is why the Chiefs ran the ball 9 times out of their first 16 plays. Isaiah Pacheco had some great runs, and Carson Steele converted a key 2nd and 1. Quick passes to Rashee Rice and Sky Moore helped move the ball. Like the Bengals, Kansas City went for it on 4th down, with Steele picking up the yard they needed. But 3 plays later, they had to settle for a field goal, tying the game at 3-3. The crowd wasn't happy about it, and honestly, I wasn't either. It felt like a moment when the Chiefs could have shown a little more aggression. It's times like these that make you wish the Chiefs had a quarterback sneak play in their book. Mahomes can't do it, but why not try someone like Carson Wentz, one of the best in the league at sneaking for short gains? Maybe we'll see that come playoffs, but it didn't happen in this game. The Chiefs tried multiple times to punch it in, but couldn't get it done. After forcing a quick 3-and-out from the Bengals, Mahomes made an uncharacteristic mistake, throwing a bad interception when he didn't see a lurking linebacker while trying to get the ball to Travis Kelce. Looking at the coach's film, Mahomes had other options. Justin Watson was open. So was Xavier Worthy, and even Pacheco on a checkdown. It was a bad decision, especially since it's happened in back-to-back games. Burrow wasted no time capitalizing on that turnover, driving the Bengals into the red zone and throwing a dart to Andre Iosivas on 3rd and goal with Najee Johnson covering him closely. Thankfully, Mahomes bounced back from his interception, converting a clutch 3rd and 5 with his legs. Then, a few plays later, he caught the Bengals' secondary napping. Rashee Rice made a quick move inside before streaking down the left sideline, and Mahomes hit him perfectly for a 44-yard touchdown, tying the game at 10. Cam Taylor-Britt was the defensive back in coverage. Fun fact, Rice burned him last season on a similar play. Jamar Chase then caught a 12-yard pass and, of course, had a few words to say. But on the next play, Chase actually grabbed McDuffie as he was going to the ground, and somehow McDuffie got called for defensive pass interference. A terrible miss by the refs on that one. That should have been offensive pass interference on Jamar Chase, but you can't win them all. However, Chase would later learn his lesson in this game. Thankfully, Cincinnati was held to just a field goal after Carlos Dunlap and Chris Jones pressured Burrow on 3rd down, so the penalty didn't end up helping them much. Chris Jones, by the way, made several standout plays in this game, which ended in a thrilling finish. But there's a lot more to break down here, like Kamari Connor stepping up, Kingsley Suamataia getting benched, Jamar Chase's meltdown, and more. After Cincinnati's field goal, Kansas City got the ball back with about 4 minutes left in the half, with a chance to double up, score before halftime, and then get the ball again to start the 3rd quarter. But just 4 plays into the drive, rookie Carson Steele fumbled, and the Bengals recovered. Steele didn't protect the ball well enough, and linebacker Jermaine Pratt punched it out cleanly. It's a tough mistake, but as a rookie, these growing pains are part of the learning process. On the next drive, Nick Bolton slammed Joe Mixon into the ground on a failed screen pass, but the Bengals kept moving. with Burrow finding his tight ends for over 100 receiving yards in just the first half. That's wild. Even with that success, Kansas City's defense held them to just a field goal, making it 16-10 with the Chiefs down by 6. With about a minute and a half left in the half and a timeout to work with, could the Chiefs get some points? Unfortunately, no. The drive started off strong, but then Trey Hendrickson took over, schooling Kingsley Suamataia on back-to-back plays. He almost sacked Mahomes on second down, then got him on the very next play, pushing the Chiefs out of field goal range. Even though Harrison Butker initially lined up for a 68-yard field goal attempt, they changed their minds and opted to punt, essentially ending the half. The break seemed to help Kansas City, though. They opened the second half with a 12-yard catch and run from Sky Moore, followed by a few solid runs. On 4th and 1, Carson Steele redeemed himself with a 5-yard run, helped by linebacker Leo Chenal lining up as a fullback. Pretty fun to see. Isaiah Pacheco followed with back-to-back strong runs, getting the Chiefs to the 4-yard line. A couple of plays later, they showed a heavy run formation with multiple players in the backfield, only to set up a touchdown pass to offensive tackle Wanya Morris, who was an eligible receiver on the play. Interestingly, Travis Kelce was wide open on that play too, but Mahomes opted for Morris. That score put the Chiefs up 17-16. Then it was Kansas City's secondary that got caught off guard. Joe Burrow connected with Jermaine Burton for a huge 47-yard gain on first down. Jalen Watson wasn't ready for that one, and the Bengals capitalized with more work from their tight ends. On a critical 3rd and 2, Burrow scrambled to pick up the first down, avoiding heavy pressure. On 4th and goal, Andre Iosivas caught his second touchdown of the game. The Bengals' offensive line gave Burrow plenty of time, and he took full advantage. That score would have made it 23-17, but Bengals kicker Evan McPherson missed the extra point, keeping Kansas City within 5 points. Remember that missed extra point because it would prove costly later. A few plays later, things took a scary turn for the Chiefs. Mahomes threw another interception, but luckily, an illegal contact call, a soft one honestly, on Kelce wiped it out and kept the drive alive. However, Kingsley Suamataia was flagged again, this time for holding Trey Hendrickson in what looked like a WWE headlock. You can't do that. Mahomes ended up throwing another interception on that drive, a one-handed grab by Cam Taylor-Britt. Mahomes was trying to hit Xavier Worthy up the left sideline, but he underthrew it. At this point, things were looking rough for Kansas City, trailing by 5 as the third quarter came to a close. The Bengals had the ball and a chance to extend their lead, which could have made things much worse. Mike Dana came through with a huge play, strip-sacking Joe Burrow on 3rd and 10. Burrow lost control of the ball, and safety Kamari Connors scooped it up and ran it back for a touchdown. This incredible defensive play shifted the momentum back to the Chiefs, canceling out a costly interception from Mahomes earlier. After review, the play stood, and Kansas City took the lead, 23-22. They tried for a 2-point conversion to stretch the lead to 3, but it didn't work out, leaving the score tight at 1 point. After that, things got wild. Drew Tranquill missed a key tackle, allowing Randy Moss to gain 13 yards, and Ja'Marr Chase caught a pass for a first down. However, a holding call on Orlando Brown Jr. pushed the Bengals back, and after some solid plays, we reached the most dramatic moment. Ja'Marr Chase had a complete meltdown. After catching a short pass, he thought he was tackled illegally and demanded a flag, but none came. Chase got so angry he ignored Burrow, who was trying to calm him down and get him back into the huddle. Chase even pushed Burrow away, which earned him a 15-yard penalty for abusive language. This hurt Cincinnati's drive, forcing them into a 3rd and 22 situation. They still managed to get a 53-yard field goal, but Chase's tantrum single-handedly stalled the drive. Meanwhile, Bengals pass rusher Trey Hendrickson kept heating up. He sacked Mahomes for a 4-yard loss, and after Mahomes connected with Kelce for a big gain, Kingsley Suamataia got flagged for holding, pushing the Chiefs into a long 3rd and 20. Suamataia was benched, with Wanya Morris replacing him for the rest of the game. After a solid punt by Matt Arisa, pinning the Bengals deep in their own territory, the Chiefs' defense stepped up again. Kamari Connors blitzed and sacked Burrow on 3rd down, forcing the Bengals to punt. The Chiefs got the ball back with 2.5 minutes left, 3 timeouts, and the 2-minute warning. Isaiah Pacheco and Rice helped move the ball to Kansas City's own 42-yard line, but then disaster struck. Pacheco was tackled awkwardly, and though it didn't seem serious at the time, he left the game and didn't return. Mahomes threw the ball away, and a failed screen pass to Samaj Perine left the Chiefs with a 4th and 6. No problem, though. Mahomes found Rice for a big gain, putting the Chiefs deep into Bengals territory and well within Harrison Butker's range for a game-winning field goal. But Wanya Morris was flagged for illegal hands to the face on Hendrickson, pushing the Chiefs back to a 4th and 16. Nearly impossible to convert, but Mahomes tried anyway. With the Bengals rushing only 3, Mahomes bought time and threw it deep to Rice. As Rice went up for the catch, he was hit early by a defender, drawing an obvious defensive pass interference, DPI, flag. Bengals fans were furious after the game, but both the DPI and the illegal hands to the face calls were spot on. The Chiefs sealed the win when Harrison Butker, the highest-paid kicker in the league, nailed a 51-yard game-winning field goal. This ended the game with a final score of 26-25. While it was closer than my predicted 31-24, a win is a win, even if it wasn't pretty. It marked the Chiefs' 3rd straight victory over the Bengals and 2nd with a healthy Joe Burrow. As always, it was a close, down-to-the-wire game, showing how tough Cincinnati plays against Kansas City. The Bengals' defensive coordinator, Lou Anarumo, deserves credit for almost getting inside Mahomes' head, and their tight ends exploited Kansas City's defense. Through 2 weeks, the Chiefs' defense has allowed 25 catches for 276 yards and a touchdown to tight ends, which is a serious concern. On the positive side, Trent McDuffie completely shut down Jamar Chase, limiting him to just 1 reception for 4 yards. Chase was so frustrated that he had a meltdown later in the game. Chamari Connor also had a standout performance with a scoop and score and a sack on 3rd down, helping get the Chiefs' offense back on the field. Chris Jones, as usual, dominated the game with multiple big plays, including 3 QB hits and 1.5 sacks. His impact goes beyond the stat sheet. However, the Chiefs' defense still struggled, especially against tight ends, and Joshua Williams had some tough moments. Nazeeh Johnson also allowed a touchdown, which shows the Chiefs' secondary, outside of McDuffie, is still finding its rhythm. Special teams shined with Matt Areza's excellent punts and Butker scoring 8 points, including the game winner. The biggest issue for Kansas City was on the offensive side. Mahomes made some mistakes, but the offensive line, particularly Kingsley Suamataia, had a rough game. Kingsley earned a 26.4 pass-blocking grade from PFF, the worst of any lineman. He allowed multiple pressures, gave up 2 sacks, and was flagged twice for holding. While Trey Hendrickson is a top pass rusher, Kingsley needs to improve quickly, or the Chiefs may need to look at alternatives like Donovan Smith. Andy Reid hinted that Kingsley's starting spot might be in jeopardy, as he was benched late in the game. Whether the team sticks with him or turns to Wanya Morris, it's a critical decision. Beyond the O-line issues, Mahomes threw 2 interceptions and missed some reads, so he knows he needs to be better. Credit also goes to the Bengals' defensive coordinator, Lou Anarumo, who consistently challenges Mahomes. One of the most concerning issues for the Chiefs' offense now is Isaiah Pacheco's injury. It was revealed that he broke his fibula at the end of the game. Depending on the severity, his recovery could take anywhere from 4 to 12 weeks, which is a huge blow to the Chiefs' running game. We received some positive news today. Jeremy Fowler reported that Isaiah Pacheco is expected to miss 6 to 8 weeks, which is better than the initial 12-week estimate. This would bring him back around mid-November. However, the Chiefs need help in the running back room while he's out. Rookies like Carson Steele, who lacks elite burst, and Perine, who's more of a 3rd down back, might not be enough. Clyde Edwards-Helaire is also on the NFI, non-football injury list, until at least week 4, and in an ideal situation, he would return by week 5. But even if he does, the Chiefs will still need to manage a couple of weeks without Pacheco. Andy Reid mentioned that while Edwards-Helaire is around, he didn't confirm whether he'd be back by week 5. Meanwhile, Brett Veach is exploring other options, with potential call-ups like Keontae Ingram and Amani Bailey from the practice squad. Alternatively, they may bring in someone from outside to fill the gap. Here's the big surprise. Former Chiefs running back Kareem Hunt is scheduled to visit tomorrow. Hunt, who was drafted by the Chiefs in 2017, was released in 2018 due to off-the-field issues. According to Adam Schefter, Hunt could help fill the void in the Chiefs' running back room. Though Hunt isn't the same player he was before, at 29, he's still been productive with the Browns, recording 400 rushing yards, 9 touchdowns, and a career-low 3.0 yards per carry last season. While he wasn't heavily involved in the Browns' passing game, Hunt can still contribute in that area. He could rotate in with Carson Steele, Perine, and possibly Edwards-Helaire, once he returns. The main concern with Hunt, still a free agent, is whether he's in football shape for the upcoming game. Even if signed, he might take some time to get up to speed, but he could eventually work his way into the rotation. Now, what are your thoughts on a potential Kareem Hunt reunion? He performed well during his time with the Chiefs, and while the Browns aren't the Chiefs, he could find more success if he returns this season. Let me know if you think a return is possible and what your biggest takeaways and concerns are from this win over the Bengals.